So I guess I'll start out with the onboarding, right? That's that corporate terminology because I worked for a corporate place once. And when you bring an employee on, you have to train them, right? That's anywhere. It doesn't matter if you're starting at the lowest levels of automotive, you're CEO, there's a process. You have to learn the process of the business. And in our industry, we live in chaos a lot, right? You open the shop at 8 and there's just people pouring in and everybody's running around like chicken with their head cut off. And the onboarding process was non-existent. They talked a lot about here's a process, here's how we do things. That's awesome. They had some amazing processes from the outside looking in, but when you're a technician, you're dropped in and your feet are held to the fire, you don't know process. It creates confusion, frustration. It upsets that technician who's new. It upsets the current employees, and it creates tension before you ever start. So
they had processes in place already. They just didn't tell you what the processes were?
So I wasn't provided like a written example of a process. You know, like, hey, this is the
Did they have them written?
They said they did.
99% of shops don't write anything down.
I would agree with you because I've never seen them written in a shop environment, but they said they had them written, and I was never provided them. I wasn't.
So they didn't hand you a manual and said, hey, figure this out.
We had an employee manual, but there was no like definitive step 1 of getting a repair order. Step 2 wasn't written.
Well, that sounds like a policy manual.
And it wasn't. So the point I was trying to make is I wasn't, handheld, for lack of a better term, and said, this is our process. Make sure you follow this process because it creates the easiest situation for everybody involved. It makes you more efficient, helps us generate more revenue and take better care of the customer.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I was just dropped in, and because of my experience level, I have ASE certifications. I've been in the industry almost 10 years. It's just expected that I would know what to do, right? But every shop's different. Everyone has a different parts process. Everyone has a different dispatching process. And when I've, learned one way and I'm never shown very step by step in a granular way how you do it, it created a lot of friction. Right?
Yeah, and it's almost making me feel anxious thinking about it, right? Like I'm putting myself in your shoes saying if I was in a shop and I got put into that scenario, dude, that would make me anxious. Like, I'm already
that's every shop.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, I'm thinking about if
what ends up happening. They hire the guy either like takes it and runs with it because they don't have any kind of established process at all. So when the person comes in and does a process, like this is the way we did it at my old shop, and so they just run with it, and it has good outcomes, right? The shop owner falls in love, and he's like, oh, the post we had the other day with the service advisor, that was, I've sold more work today than we've ever sold before, and I just hired
new
them,
service advisor that with zero training.
Yeah, with zero training provided. Mm-hmm. Okay, that shop didn't provide any processes, nothing. The guy just had experience and said, he had a knack for it, and he just ran with it, right? Because the shop owner has no idea, like they haven't written anything down, they don't have anything. But you walked into a shop that actually had processes in place, they just didn't communicate them.
Well, but so let's talk about how that...
Which doesn't make any sense, by the way, because if you're going to go through the process of writing everything out, why wouldn't you share that?
That's what I'm asking everybody to do. I want everybody that's listening to this put themselves in Zach's shoes. Like that. I mean, you're anxious. You're starting a new job. Mm-hmm. You've never worked here before. You don't know if your teammates are going to like you. You don't know if this is going to be a good fit. You don't know when do I take lunch? What do I do?
Yeah, but see, like a brand new shop or a brand new employee walks into a shop with no processes, they're going to ask. Like, hey, what do you want me to put the keys? When do you want me to pull the car in? What do you want me to do first?
You're missing what I'm trying to encompass here. What I'm trying to say is that we've got a technician shortage supposedly, right? Think about, would you want to work in a shop if that was the first experience you got? How would you feel if you were
set up to fail right out of the chute?
And like, so in our shop, you know how I do it. Like I take them and they work with the service advisor one day, then they move to the lead technician. They work with him one day, then they go see somebody else's process, and we work together, and then we sit down, we talk, and like, okay, we could do this. Hey, his bay's not going to work for this. We should try this. And okay, great. Like, and then at the end of a few days, we sit down and we talk like, okay, that didn't work. Hang on, let's do something different, because it changes, right? The dynamic changes. You bring somebody else in, you change the shop. My point is you're exactly right. I'm not trying to take away from what you're saying. I'm trying to say that if you're listening to this, listen to what Zach said and put yourself in those shoes. That would suck. I'm not saying that all shops aren't like this, and I'm not saying that they wouldn't do what you're talking about. I'm saying if you put yourself in his shoes, especially imagine you're a young tech and you go into a shop and you start this way.
You have huge anxiety.
You already have anxiety. This goes,
Yeah.
it takes it off the top.
So I'm just curious. So like you walk in and would they hand you just the first work order and they're like, go?
For the most part, yeah. They just drop me in and baptism by fire, right? And to a point, like when I started my own business is how I did it. I just went out and learned. There is value in making mistakes and learning.
Yeah.
However, when you don't do a very thorough onboarding process, you create resentment.